Thank you, Hilla. And it's a real privilege to be part of a group of human rights heroes, those working on their behalf, former political prisoners themselves, families of political prisoners, and the like. And as you mentioned, Hillel, and as Alfred Moses mentioned at the beginning, we are meeting on the 75th anniversary of the UN Charter. And I still recall Kofi Annan saying on a number of occasions that a United Nations that does not put human rights at the forefront of its advocacy is a United Nations that betrays its founding and forfeits its future. And right now, the UN Council on Human Rights, which will be meeting next week, is in fact betraying its founding ideals and is in fact forfeiting its responsibilities. And so we have to, ourselves, individually and collectively, undertake these responsibilities to name and shame and call out the human rights violators, and start next week in the presence of the foreign ministers as the UN Council meets. We meet also on the 75th anniversary of the imprisonment and disappearance of Raoul Wallenberg, Canada's first honorary citizen, whom the United Nations referred to as the greatest humanitarian of the 20th century. Raoul Wallenberg, the Swedish diplomat, who in the last 6 months of 1944 saved more Jews, as Prime Minister Trudeau said on Raoul Wallenberg Commemorative Day in Canada on January 17, saved more Jews than any other single government or institution. From mid-May to the beginning of July 1944, 440,000 Hungarian Jews were deported to the death camp of Auschwitz-Birkenau. This was the cruelest, most efficient, most horrific killing field in all of the Holocaust. And nobody could say at that time that we did not know. Raoul Wallenberg arrived in the Swedish legation in Budapest in mid-July, and as I mentioned, in the next 6 months, through a combination of courage and cunning and bluff and bravery and mobilizing others together with him, saved 100,000 Hungarian Jews. So what the whole of the international bystander community could not and did not do, one person showed how one person with the compassion to care and the courage to act can confront evil, prevail, and transform history. And the final inspirational example is that it is now the 30th anniversary of the release of Nelson Mandela, Canada's second honorary citizen, who himself endured 27 years in a South African prison, and who emerged to not only preside over the dismantling of apartheid, but to become the first president of the first democratic, free, egalitarian South Africa, and who would always remind us that each one of us can make a difference, that each one of us every day can do one good deed that makes a difference. And I'm reminded here of the words of the sage Maimonides, who said that we should each see the world as being divided into half evil and half good. Therefore, one good deed by any one of us on any given day can have a cosmic effect of transforming the ledger from evil to good. And so we should each see ourselves as having that capacity to transform the ledger every day from evil to good, to speak and to act on behalf of political prisoners, to let them know that they are not alone, to let them know that we stand in solidarity with them, to let them know that we will not relent in our advocacy until their freedom is secured. And we will continue to speak and act to seek justice on behalf of the victims of human rights violations at the same time as we seek justice and accountability with respect to their perpetrators, and beginning with the advocacy of political prisoners and holding the UN Human Rights Council accountable. Thank you.